excellence in medical education. Excellence is very much on today's agenda in all sorts of different fields. And I'd argue that it's on the agenda in medical education that if we want to engage on this exciting journey we've been talking about in the last few days, whether we succeed or not will depend to a large extent on whether we exhibit excellence in medical education. So excellence in medical education is of the greatest importance. In other fields, we've been talking about excellence for a long time. In business, there is, of course, the classic study by Peters and others on excellence in business. What does it mean to be excellent in business? In academia, the Nobel Prizes, physics, chemistry, physiology, whatever, excellence in academia is well recognized, well rewarded. Excellence in athletics, we had the London Olympic Games, gold medals, bronze medals, silver medals, recognizing and rewarding excellence in athletics. More controversially, excellence in art. In the UK, there's this Turner Prize. Rather controversial. Damien Hirst, for example, Mother and Child Divided. Martin Creed, Lights Going On and Off. And more recently, the Turner Prize to Laura Provost. More controversial. Excellence also in dancing, a rather different judgment about excellence. One of my favorite programs is Strictly Dancing. Excellence in dancing, excellence in all of these fields. But what we've been challenged this morning, what is excellence in medical education? Excellence in universities has been dominated by rewarding excellence in research. If you look at the Shanghai academic rankings, much quoted, every university, medical, wanting to be in this top rankings, is exclusively on research. The Times Higher University rankings, while they say that 30% is on teaching, just look at what they say, how they recognize excellence in teaching, a reputational survey, the number of PhD awards, number of undergraduates admitted, the income per undergraduate, the bachelor awards. Really not anything like the sort of thing that Dan Hunt has been describing as being recognized for excellence. So teaching really more or less ignored in recognizing excellence in universities. And this has serious complications, as in this important report, it said that this myopia of rankings, focusing on competitive research and less on teaching, we know this is an established fact, but this ignoring the teaching has serious complications, serious implications, serious complications. The bias and information base of existing rankings towards research outcomes can detract from efforts to improve educational performance. People concentrating and becoming excellent in research because that's what's recognized internationally. That's what's rewarded internationally. Therefore, what do? You want to become more excellent in research, and teaching gets neglected. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. In this book, for example, Skelton says that teaching excellence is now becoming more part of everyday language and the practice of education. It's on the agenda. We're discussing it at this meeting. Teaching excellence is on today's agenda. And if you look at various reports, the ECFMG, they talk about excellence in medical education. Johns Hopkins talk about excellence in education. Excellence in education. Excellence in education in San Diego. So excellence is on the agenda. Schools, universities are saying they're excellent, but what does that mean? And the big challenge is, how do they get internationally recognized for excellence in education? We've seen that they can get recognized for excellence in research, but how do they get recognized for excellence in teaching? And that was the challenge put originally originally by David Wilkinson from Australia. How can we recognize excellence in teaching? And that was the inspiration behind setting up this international body, this international innovation, the Aspire initiative, that looked at teaching alongside research. It didn't say that research is not important. Of course research is important, but we need to recognize teaching alongside research as a mission of a medical school. That world-class excellence in education in schools recognized against a agreed set of standards or benchmarks. We wrote an article, David Wilkinson and myself, in Medical Teacher, arguing this case, the need to recognize excellence in education. And an international board was set up to establish, first of all, was it possible to create criteria for excellence in teaching? That was one of the criticisms why it never happened. It wasn't possible to do. So the first challenge of the board, and you can see many of the members are here, Manobi Kazamatos, Pablo's here, Dan Hunt, others are here, Stefan Lindgren in the audience today. Leading experts around the world set up this challenge. Could we do it? And the conclusion was yes, we can establish criteria to recognize excellence. And in the first instance, we're looking now at adding to this, and any suggestions would be helpful. In the first instance, we looked at excellence in 3 areas. Can you recognize a school for excellence in assessment of students? Can you recognize a school for excellence in social accountability as a mission of the school? A more forward-looking concept. And a topic that's come up again at this meeting several times, can you recognize excellence in student engagement? So schools could be put forward for recognition of excellence in 1, 2, or 3 of these areas. Just a quick word about each of the 3 areas. Recognized for excellence in assessment. This was felt because major developments, I put up here the program for the last 2 Ottawa conferences, were some of the exciting developments, a very important aspect of a medical school's initiatives. How do they assess their students? And some of the developments in this field were recognized at the Ottawa conference. So recognition of excellence in assessment. And the criteria were developed by a panel, charged a panel. Again, some of the people at this meeting, part of this international panel, these are the criteria on which we will judge excellence in assessment. So it was possible. We did a pilot study. We proved that these were reasonable criteria. We did a pilot study, and then it was implemented, and schools were asked to apply. And here are the first 3 schools that were presented at the AMEE meeting in Prague last year that were recognized for excellence in assessment internationally. So these, if you want to see an excellent example of assessment internationally, these are 3 schools you might want to visit or correspond with. In the US, Southern Illinois, Aga Khan in Pakistan, the University of Leeds in the UK. And in the second area, social responsibility, there's a lot been written about this. The World Federation, other bodies have set up documents on social responsibility. Jim Rourke, who's the chairman of the Deans in Canada, suggested this was an important area. And again, we set up a panel under his chairmanship that established the criteria. And yes, it was possible to look at the criteria. If you want to see these criteria, which are now being accepted, these criteria, as examples of best practice in each of these areas. So these criteria that we've set up, and you can look at it on the website, are examples of what's best practice. And you can see again the international representation on this group. And these are the schools that have been recognized so far for responsibility. Again, the University of Southern Illinois, in Canada, the Northern Ontario School of Medicine, in UK, Hull York, Memorial in Canada, and the University of New Mexico, Albuquerque in the US. So these are the schools where, if you want to see examples of excellence in social accountability, to correspond or to visit. And the final one, the third area that we looked at, was this notion of recognition of excellence in student engagement, because there are all sorts of these stakeholders who are taking part in education, and it was felt that students increasingly are recognized not just as consumers of education, but as partners in the education process. And we looked at this, and again here you can see the international panel. It was chaired by Professor Khalid bin Abdul Rahman from Saudi Arabia, and you can see the other members. Again, some are here. Dan Hunt played a very active part in this panel. Madalena Patricio is here, was on this panel. And these are the schools, again, that were awarded excellence for student engagement. Southern Illinois is the only school that got awards in all three areas. Again, Educacin, Maribor in Slovenia, IMU in Malaysia, Western Australia in Australia, Minho in Portugal, and Southampton. So really truly international categories, and these are the schools if you want to see student engagement in action. So this is an exciting journey we have ahead of us in medical education. And for this to succeed, not to end in some misfortunes or disaster, I think we need to look much more at excellence in education. But it isn't sufficient to have this on our agenda to say we want excellence. I showed at the beginning all these schools that say we're excellent in education. It's easy to say our institute or our body is excellent in education. The challenge is, how do we get it formally assessed and recognised? There are plenty of means to get basic accreditation. ECMG, World Federation have done marvellous jobs in recognising basic accreditation, minimum standards. But how do we get recognition for excellence in education? And that's, I think, where the SPIRE initiative comes in. The deadline for the next round, a slight plug, is the 14th of December. There's a leaflet out on the AMEE stand. If you want a brief note more about it in these categories, it's on the AMEE stand just as you come into this area. And there's more information also on the website, aspiretoexcellence.org. Again, the full references are in that leaflet on the AMEE stand. And we hope that you will participate in this exciting initiative to take forward excellence by suggesting new topics, by perhaps contributing to the board and to the panels, and by finally persuading your school, if you believe you are excellent in education, in submitting. Thank you.